Speaking of Greasy, ladies and gentlemen, it's Greasy himself. That's right. Don Cokejaw Jr. doing his best to look like Ellis from Die Hard. I mean, can you imagine seeing that guy when you're watching Die Hard and you're like, which guy of all these people would I like to be? Sure, there are the people who, like myself, who really related to Bruce Willis's character and how vulnerable he was and heroic he was throughout the whole movie, and his care to save his wife and his family and as many lives as possible, where he constantly endangered his own life and running across broken glass in his bare feet. And you find it kind of inspiring as a character story, you know, very like unsuperhero-y behavior from a very fragile man. Sure, you could be inspired by that, like I was. You could look at Hans Gruber and go, wow, what a classy, oddly accented fellow he is, ladies and gentlemen, as and a you know, a cold-blooded murderer when he shoots Mr. Takagi, who I guess you have to think he's cool, you have to look past the moment where he shot a father of 5 right in the forehead because he wouldn't give him a code he didn't need in the first place, because fuck that guy. And I mean Hans Gruber, Boris, all those other guys, all the main dudes, the weird, odd, shitty FBI agents who were just out of their minds in the old 1980s. The feds, they always want to get in here. The feds, you know, that mythology. Or you could look at Ellis and go, who's the biggest coked up dickhead in this whole fucking thing that not only manages to get himself killed, but almost gets Bruce Willis's McClane's wife killed in the process while doing blow in his office, in Holly's office. Because let's not forget that Takagi shows up to take him to see his wife, to take John to see his wife, and of all the offices on that fucking floor, Ellis is doing coke in her office. Like an asshole. Anyways, so that's obviously Junior saw Die Hard and came away going, I want to be Ellis. I want to feel like Ellis. I want people to look at me and go, is that dickhead from Die Hard who almost got everybody killed? And then got himself shot? Hans, Booby, I can give him to you. You know, that's your dream, right? That's your, all right. So this is him talking. This is a little slice of Triggered, which is, I think, a long-form porn where he fucks a horse. And this is from one of the, obviously, few and far between dialogue scenes that most people fast-forward through. And this, this is his interview. He's got as a guest Kevin McCarthy, and I don't know how he managed to get that guy. He's so in demand and so busy legislating. How did he even have time to be on a podcast this early? But we'll see, guys. And he also, Junior released another thing, CSL, and I looked all over for it. It doesn't show up on his Rumble page yet, which is very awkward. That his, wait, what? Sorry, I just saw something when I read it. I went, what the fuck does that mean? And then I went, oh, it doesn't have any meaning. It's just fucking dumb. It was this, by the way. This is in the Discord. You put it up here. Here you go. Evil is greedy. Yeah, I know. Isn't greed evil? Because evil would be the primary. Never mind. So I was looking for. Here it is. Here it is. I don't know why it wasn't showing up. Here it is. Let's go. Let's go here first before we go to the moment, because this is Junior in a in a bum rush to get this statement out, wearing camo in New York City so he can blend in with the shrubs in Central Park, I suppose. This is President Trump responds to Biden's insane soda speech. Watch. So this is just him playing his dad's thing, which we saw already in the morning show before everything went to shit. And then we'll bounce to it. Hold on. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe. It's House Parks Mega Worldwide. I'm here every day. I'm throwing this stuff up for free, just doing my thing. So if you like it and you appreciate it, throw me a bone, or a couple of bones, or a couple of Norwegian kroners or whatever, and we'll get on with it. Here we go. Guys,
starting tomorrow, this simple bedtime ice hack can change your life. You may not know this, but the biological...
Guys, Guys, this is the thing. My dad did all the stuff, and Joe Biden is trying to steal my dad's MAGA.
Responds to Joe Biden's message. This is my father's response to Joe Biden's insane dream world State of the Union last night.
He has his own channel, fuckhead. Why don't you do your own response and show his, except for the fact that maybe like a tick to a dog, this fuckhead is literally playing his dad's video so that people will watch it there so he can get the other views. Yeah. Grown man playing his father. Like, let's see. It's 3 minutes and 14 seconds. This might be the entirety of the video because I think Trump's is like 2:20.
Where he got up and literally seemed to run on like a Trump Make America Great Again for the working class platform, except we all see the results.
That's right. We see 3.5% unemployment. That's nothing like my dad. He was headed towards a recession before COVID even hit, guys.
It's a big lie.
Yeah, well, that's what your dad was running on. And this is like, he's talking, the big lie was he mentioned it. He meant, your dad, saying he won the election. That's what the big lie was. But it's another big lie. I mean, there's a lot of big lies going around. Like your dad, I don't know, passed the VA Choice Act of 2014. That one?
Right? He talked about how he's reducing insulin pricing. My father did that.
My dad, the gabaga.
Okay, hold on one second. By the way, let's see. Do I have it? Yeah, hold on. Let's see. President Trump announces lower okay, this is the 2020. This is May of 2020. This is what he's talking about, by the way. Today, under President Trump's leadership, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services announced that over 1,750 standalone Medicare Part D prescription drug plans and Medicare Advantage plans with prescription drug coverage have applied to offer lower insulin costs through Part D senior savings model for 2021 plan year. Across the nation, participation enhanced Part D prescription drug plans will provide Medicare beneficiaries access to a broad set of insulins at a maximum of $35 a month for a month's supply. The beginning of the year through the Part D coverage app. This model falls on the Trump administration's previously announced 13.5% decline in the average monthly basic Part D premium since 2017 to the lowest in 7 years. Currently, Part D sponsors may offer prescription drug plans that provide lower cost sharing in the coverage gap. However, when they do, the Part D sponsor accrues costs that pharmaceutical manufacturers would normally pay. These costs are then passed on to beneficiaries in the form of higher premiums. The new insulin model directly addresses the disincentive by doing two things. One, allowing manufacturers to continue paying their full coverage gap discount for their products, even when a plan offers lower cost sharing. And two, requiring participating Part D sponsors plans in Part D. You get the point? It wasn't mandated. It was optional. And it didn't work.
Joe Biden came in and canceled it. Now he puts it back in and takes...
Yes, he cancels the temporary optional version and makes it mandatory.
...credit for it. Just like he's taking credit for job creation by allowing people displaced from a pandemic to go back to work, right?
Wait a minute. Now, are you starting to tell me that when your dad says we build it back again in 2020, he built it back immediately, that was just, that he was building, that those were jobs he created? The jobs that came back at the end of 2020 and then, of course, went away again? You might be onto something, Junior. Look at that.
Right? That's not a real statistic.
It's not a real statistic. It's a real statistic. You could say that it doesn't benefit one side or the other, but it's a real statistic. Secondly, for the record, Biden, there was no guarantee those jobs were coming back. Let's just be abundantly clear. Never are. Same thing with 2009. The idea that, like, in retrospect, we can look back at jobs coming forward, but that doesn't mean people are going to manage to do it. That, especially in the time, they might do it in 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. It depends on how destitute or or how few jobs there are. We have so many fucking jobs. Everybody was able to go right back.
Allowing people to go back to work, it's not job creation.
Right. Tell your dad that. Yeah, that was in 2020. Afterwards, though, 10 million people starting brand new jobs, and the extra jobs on top of the ones that we had are all Joe Biden. That's all his plan. And he gets to take credit because it took a period of time for making sure that those jobs that went away actually did come back instead of evaporating.
Right? The economy isn't booming. Look at what these policies are. They're not populist policies. They gave us skyrocketing inflation.
Did they, or did supply shock do that? And by the way, if it's money printing that caused skyrocketing inflation, why is your dad, he had the lion's share of the money dump.
They gave us skyrocketing gas prices.
Skyrocketing. I'm sorry, what?
Right? The economy isn't booming. Look at what these policies are. They're not populist policies. They gave us skyrocketing inflation. They gave us skyrocketing gas prices.
Rocket giggling. I see. Skyrocket giggling. Afternoon delight. Skyrocket giggling. This is that like free healthcare for a legal look. He's definitely got his father's best words. Nobody adds extra syllables to it. It's like their own version of Pig Latin. Just add giggity to the middle of any word.
They canceled oil pipelines. They canceled.
Yes, a Canadian one. A single Canadian one. A Canadian pipeline, one pipeline, Canadian pipeline. They canceled one Canadian pipeline. There was one that they canceled, and it was Canadian. That went through the United States over our clean water, and considering the record of the first one, the Keystone pipeline, which still exists, the Keystone XL seemed like, oh, let's see, how many oil leaks have we had into our waters from Canadian shale oil and tar sands oil that's gone across our country? Quite a few. Well, let's see, those were normal-sized pipelines, were they? Yes, they were. And if you XL those pipelines, do you think the chances of them leaking more when they do would be slightly higher? Yeah, that's a strong possibility. If you get safety record to safety record, it seems so.
Those jobs.
Those jobs, all 50 of them.
They are putting us...
all these jobs, which is, yes, 517,000 jobs in January alone added. And also manufacturing jobs, like 18,000 of them. Yeah. Those people, those skilled construction workers are busy as a fiddler's elbow right now.
At the brink of war.
No, excuse me. We're already in World War III, and your dad said so a month ago. Now you're saying brink. Now, I'm glad we moved back. We were in the war, then now we're back on the brink. I guess that's, thanks, Joe Biden.
They threw our grocery bills through the roof. Inflation.
They took a bottle of poof like that. They made paper airplanes out of the receipts, and they threw them out by giving chickens avian flu. Yeah, it made egg prices go up by by encouraging Americans to eat organic and therefore not wanting antibiotics and other chemicals in their eggs, especially, and then those chickens became more susceptible to avian flu, and a lot more of them died maybe than would have. But in general, the eggs are healthier, so we put up with it, and every so often the price is going to spike because a disease is going to kill our fucking chickens because they don't have antibiotics in their system. Okay, fair trade.
Inflation is insane, and so are our interest rates. And as our mortgage reset, you're going to see even more of that. It's all one.
And as our mortgage reset? As our mortgage reset. Is there a button that we're aware of? Guys, what does that mean? Excuse me. I'm sure he thinks it means something.
Threw our grocery bills through the roof.
They threw our grocery bills through the roof. Yeah, right. I'm amazed because I didn't even realize they could carry that much. Because you'd think there'd be more wind drift.
Inflation is insane, and so are our interest rates. And as our mortgage reset, you're going to see even more of that.
First of all, the Fed is raising interest rates because of the concept that money printing caused the inflation that we were in. Money printing in general, and by the way, the accumulation of debt, that a quarter of which happened under his dad. And a huge amount of the debt, just a big lump of it, about $6 trillion, happened while his dad was in office. Again, that money, that $6 trillion, which both parties came together to push through, was necessary to salvage the economy because and by the way, didn't cause liquidity to spiral upwards out of control, because you can't patch a $22 trillion hole with $6 trillion. And but it happened during his dad. And that's what currently the Fed is trying to bring under control by raising interest rates. It's an old Volcker trick. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. It has fuck all to do with why we're in this. Again, the analogy of if you go to your doctor regularly for migraines and then you come in with a railroad spike through your head and he's like, shoulder rub and an Excedrin, send you on your way. No, so your head hurts? Yes, it does, but for a whole different reason. Well, I don't know why we should vary from your treatment schedule.
It's all one big lie. But again, easy to lie when you have the mainstream media and big tech as your mouthpiece, pretending you can do no...
Well, yeah, but if that only works, if I'm prepared, if you don't mind if I nitpick, if I may, that only works if when people go to their job or go to the store or go to a football game or watch television or do whatever they do with their pastime or hang out with friends or go to clubs or drink or dine out, if the entire world around them is cratering, then no amount of collusion between the media and tech companies to convince you otherwise will work. You will go outside and reality will slap you in the fucking face or hit you in the head with a bat if you live in any major Democrat city, apparently. And the problem these assholes have is that is not the general experience of most Americans right this second. Even with eggs on the rise, people are going, wow, these eggs are expensive, and putting them in their cart. That is, you're not under rubble in fucking Turkey, asshole. You're not in Bakhmut getting shit rained down upon you from Russian invaders. Stop whinging and recognize the world just went through a fucking calamity. There are add-on effects from that we're still experiencing. And comparatively, we got it fucking good. And while we've got it good, we should make sure that those people who are in our country and are our own citizens, apparently America first, right? They get taken care of during this time if they're not benefiting from the fact that we're a little bit ahead of everybody else.
No wrong. It's insane. This is my father's response. He's 100% right and 100% on point. Check it out.
No, I mean, I could roll through it and see if he adds anything at the end. I don't feel like it. We've already watched it. Check this out. No. It's just, I don't know how to be like a quicker, find a way to be a dick about it. By the way, Michelle says, because Samuel Alito's mom, Satanic Abortion Clinic, is so nifty. Oh, I see. Thank you for that 666 super chat. Appreciate it. Robert Brunswick, thank you as well. Thanks for becoming members, guys. Also, very soon, I'm working on it, YouTube members will also be able to join the Discord, the sort of limited one that the patrons are on, so everybody can interact. It's nice if you can be a Patreon supporter, but if you do one or the other, you're basically, some of you basically at the lower end, you should be able to still interact with that because it's basically the same financial level, and I appreciate the support, and I wanted to let you know. So if that's cool with everybody, I'm going to add that part to it. And in the meantime, let's go back to where we were with Don Jr., doing his best Ellis from Die Hard impersonation and interviewing Kevin McCarthy, where this is, and again, this is a clip they posted. Don Jr. and Kevin McCarthy on President Trump's empathy. And I'm sure he's got an anecdotal story that will rival anything that Cerebi Huck Finn Sandbag will say when we get to her in a few moments. Oh, yeah. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide.
It's also, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say that story because I hear
also, this is his podcast. This fucker is supposed to be a millionaire. He's got a lapel mic on. What the shit is with the audio in this thing? Good Lord, it's quiet. I think they remedy it partway through, maybe?
So many of those from people, and even as
let's all just gather quietly close together.
I've seen it, whether it's people that have worked with us forever, or whatever he's done that's unique. But actually, I thought it was perhaps his greatest maybe political weakness was that he never wanted to show his empathetic side. He's like, I'm dealing with China, I'm dealing with.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, totally, bro. Also, his mic is on, and if I turned up the fucking sound to accommodate for Don, whose podcast this is, this fucker would be blasting our ears out.
Yes. I'm dealing with Iran. I can't be soft. I'm like, you don't have to be soft with them, but show that side. But he still had that old school sort of Germanic, like whatever it was. Like,
yeah, I don't know if
did he say dramatic or Germanic? I think he said Germanic.
How
I'm like, he actually has.
Wait, who's interviewing who here?
So much more of that empathy that I think you needed for suburban.
This is just kind of magic, though. Like McCarthy's trying to force himself into his own interview. Look at this shit.
I'm dealing with China. I'm dealing with Russia. I'm dealing with Iran. I can't be soft. I'm like, you don't have to be soft with them, but show that side. But he still had that old school sort of Germanic, like whatever it was. Like,
yeah, I don't know if
how he grew up. I'm like, he actually has so much more of that empathy that I think.
This is such a beautiful talent for interview going on.
You needed for suburban.
Yeah. He's not. That's so fucking hilarious. Like this dude is so used to rhetorically babbling at everybody. And look, I recognize that when I have guests on my show or I'm talking to Johnny or Phil or whatever, there's a fucking delay. In Phil's case, because he's in fucking Ukraine. They're sitting right across from each other. This is not a Chris Matthews effect.
Women, but he was like, nope, we're on a world stage. We are literally, whether we're at war or just much closer to it with someone else, I'm never gonna...
Whether we're at war or much closer to it with someone else, fucking hell.
Gonna show weakness, and I was actually like, man, I wish you would do this.
I wish people got to. So we were flying up. We're going to do. He's up for re-election. We're flying up to New Hampshire. He's going to do one of his rallies. As we're going, he gets word that 2 Americans were killed and their bodies were coming back to Dover.
This must have been. Well, he didn't go to 94 of them. No, 92. He skipped out on 92 dignified transfers at Dover after one of the parents complained at him. Thank you, Water Goddess, for the subscriptions. Bless you. If you have Amazon Prime, it won't cost you a dime to subscribe on Twitch. I'm just saying. And
so as we go up the rally, he walks back to us. He goes, "I'm cutting the rally short because I'm going to be there for that family." And so he did the rally. He cut it short, and most of the members stayed. I flew with him. And when you go back to Dover, so I walk in, and they're young Marines, a very young mother, our wife. She is in a place she doesn't even believe her husband's dead. And he consults her. He goes out.
He consults her. What is death like? When somebody dies, is it icky? He consults her. Consoles is the word. And by the way, I don't think that was a mistake. I think Trump more than likely consulted her instead of consoling her.
Up to the field. It is raining. You do not have an umbrella. He sits there as a respect for these men who lost their lives.
Was he checking his watch?
Not once. And you know what, though?
He never went back.
He's consoling the family. We go through all that. We get back on the plane. And he walks in, and this is where he won't ever show. I can see in his eyes, and he said, those men should not have to die in vain. Yeah. Why do we have... I mean, and this is the part that people don't see.
First of all, those men should not have to die in vain, meaning what? Because he came out right after that if my timing is right on when this shit supposedly happened, and said we should keep the oil. That's what they were dying for, according to this fuckhead. We should keep the oil. And also, like, perfunctory responses because you've been confronted with the partner, the wife, the husband of a dead soldier. Having an emotional reaction in that moment, I gotta tell you, ain't work. You have to actively shut off your shit to not experience that unless you're a total fucking sociopath. Secondly, where was it the rest of the time? I'm gonna cut it short. Yeah.
And I wish they did.
Yeah, I've literally tried, but again,
you know, as a son, you see. But I've watched.
Wow. See how loud fucking like he is compared to Junior? Shit.
Watched him too, the pride he has in his children. And this is what I'll say too. Look, raising a family is not easy. You know, you're a great father.
No, it's not easy. And you're a piece of shit. And you know, obviously your dad wasn't around, and that can be terrible.
But they don't see him as the grandfather. I see your kids walk up and it doesn't matter what
they see as a grandfather. Just so
yeah, but there. But you know what?
Yeah, that's a problem. Who the fuck doesn't want to be seen as a grandfather? Holy shit. He acts like a real housewife or some shit.
You think of your life, okay?
Yeah, don't do it, Don. Don't do it. Like, you want to talk about somebody crying on camera, unprovoked.
He was successful. He comes from a successful life. You're successful.
No, citation needed.
I've watched all you kids as brothers and sisters love one another. You're not into drugs. You don't have problems. You don't have laptops. You don't have these other things. I mean,
you don't have problems. You don't have laptops. You don't have these other things.
To the press, I'm really into drugs. Like every time I speak, and no one's ever called me low energy, but I get the.
But you know what? I've been around you.
I get the whole he's on cocaine a lot. Why aren't you saying immediately, which I'm not? That was wouldn't you? Methinks he doesn't protest enough.
Guys, privately, it is a real family that has real love for one another, and really, it stems.
What do you want, a fucking cookie?
Of what he did as a father.
No, it isn't. No, look at this guy's face. The fuck it is. He's going through the moment his dad punched him for wearing a jersey to a baseball game and made him go back inside and put on a suit. What? Are you out of your fucking mind?
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I appreciate that. It's not true, but
I want him to show some of that, but again, you're not going to. Hey, there were
we
times
both
I
know.
also didn't want him tweeting, and people were like, "Have you ever thought about maybe asking him?" No, I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
Everybody would always say that.
You're on CNN in 20 minutes. Like, what are the talking points? It's like, I don't know, man. You're on your.
I just love that his mic is off, and they're just using audio from the camera, and they're not turning off the audio from the camera when they get McCarthy, so it's mixed in too, and it's fucking painful.
Just go figure it out.
I would tell him this. I would say, we'd be talking, oh, that'd be a good tweet. I said, my mom used to tell me in the summer.
Oh, God. No wonder he thinks you're a wuss.
If you ate, you had to wait 30 minutes before you get in the pool. Why don't we wait 30 minutes on this tweet? Then he'd look at me and goes, I wouldn't be sitting in this seat if I took it.
By the way, and there's truth in that. That's the other thing that people got to.
Yeah, it's true. He also isn't sitting in that seat because he didn't take your advice. After he became president.
Sometimes have to take, that good with it. But the success comes from.
He was a disruptor. And if he didn't disrupt, people will sit back and say, maybe something about his personality, but no one complains about his policies.
Yes, they do. First of all, the wall sucks. Mexico didn't pay for it. We stayed in Afghanistan.
Of anti-Zionism among Jews.
Jesus Christ, I don't know what that jumped into. Hey, nice job, Rumble. There's a whole history of anti-Zionism among Jews. All right, there we go. Thanks for random Rumble. Rumble's like, hey, thanks for being here. Did you enjoy the Don Jr. podcast snippet that you just watched? Perhaps some veiled anti-Semitism? You don't like that? Can we take the veil off maybe, and then you just have that? Christ almighty.